this is a guy that switches his mind every time. If he were to tell me, I'm not joking, if he said, Ade, it's raining outside, I would open up the curtains just to check for myself, because I certainly wouldn't believe him. Retired, so to speak, but let's be honest, there's a check for every boxer to come back out. If he is retired, give up your belts. Give up the WBC belt if you have retired.
You're 100% right. I heard him speaking to yourself, Simon, and Jim yesterday, and I felt for you a little bit, because you're only ever as good as the person that you're speaking to. And yesterday...
In fact, Adam, before you... Let's hear from Tyson Fury very quickly. This is what Tyson Fury had to say. Let's hear his exact words.
Right, I'm going to tell you the truth. I am retired 100% from professional boxing. I made that very clear on the last show I did with you guys at Wembley afterwards, and I'm still adamant I am 100% retired from pro boxing. I told you so before the last fight. This will be my last fight. And that is my last fight. That's my last professional fight. I've retired on top of the world, undefeated, 2-time heavyweight champion of the world who's won every single belt. I'm not interested in coming back out of retirement. I only just retired 8 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago, how long it's been. I've not got that itchy feet straight away. If it was 5 years down the line, then we could maybe talk about it. Even that 200 milli report from the Sun today, that didn't even tempt me. I thought that would be like half of what I would want to come out of retirement. I probably want half a billy.
So listen, if you're not going to come back, you're going to give up your WBC belt.
I'm not going to give it up, because, hold on a minute, I've got 12 months. I've done 2 mandatories back to back. I'm just keeping it as long as possible.
Just in case you come back.
Klitschko, as the 3rd longest reigning lineal champion in history, I'll keep that in my pocket for as long as I want. I have got 12 months, and I'm keeping hold of my belt that I worked hard for. As long as I can. I'm holding this division up because I own it. This is my division.
What a character. Tyson Fury, the lineal heavyweight champion, speaking to Simon Jordan and Jim White a couple of days ago. Adam, what do you make of it?
Contradictory. I mean, like, as I was just about to say, I felt sorry for the gents yesterday having the conversation with him, because you're only ever as good as someone. You're in this situation all the time, Andy. You're only ever as good as the person that you're speaking to, and if they don't want to answer, or they want to take you on these contradictory avenues, it becomes very, very difficult. Jim put the perfect question there. If you are legitimately retired, why are you still the WBC heavyweight champion of the world? Give that belt up. But he's just said there, he's not retired. But my take of that answer there is that he's not retired. I'm just having a rest, mate. I'm having a rest. I'm going to have a look. And at some point over the next year, you will see me fight again.
Yeah. So he needs to just drop this thing that he does then. Like, I know it's a thing, because I we're lucky, we've interviewed him a few times. You've spoken to him as well, Simon, loads of times. So I know he does chat a lot of nonsense, and he loves to play the game. Stop your nonsense. Just say, you know what, I'm going to wait and see what happens with AJ versus Usyk. If AJ wins...
What's wrong in saying that?
Why can't he say that? I know. Why didn't he just say that?
Well, he wants to be an enigma. He wants to maintain intrigue. It's very interesting that he's popped up when the Usyk and Joshua fight's about to be announced. Daniel Dubois just won an eliminator fight, and there's a lot of noise going around the division again, and no one's talking about him. So I'm a huge fan of Tyson Fury, and it was actually me that said to him before Jim got to it, well, if you don't want to hold the belt, give it up for someone else, because if you were an up-and-coming fighter that wanted to fight for this belt, you'd be pretty peed off if someone was being a dog in a manger. And then I talked to him, he then turned around and said, well, I don't want to fight the bodybuilder, and I don't want to fight a pumped-up middleweight. I said, well, he's a cruiserweight, and would you have fought a cruiserweight? Or would you have fought Evander Holyfield? No, I wouldn't. But you fought Steve Cunningham, and he knocked you down. So don't tell me you wouldn't fight cruiserweights, because you did. So if Usyk comes out of this fight beating Joshua, why wouldn't you fight him? I've watched. I'm a huge fan of Tyson Fury's. I'm the one that sat in studios,
as we all are, I think, around the same.
Studios pushing back against the Spencer Olivers and Johnny Nelsons of the world that Joshua will walk through him. I'm not interested in puffing smoke up his backside. I watched for half an hour with him and his lovely wife talking about themselves on the Piers Morgan show. I sat here with Jim asking him 15 times that he's not going to... Don't fight then. We'll move on. You're part of the past, Tyson. I said to him, you're part of the past. Let's stop talking to you now then. Because I'm not interested in Tyson getting carried away himself and believing his own hype. If you want to be the best of the generation, you've beaten Deontay Wilder. You did Klitschko and you opened up the division for everybody else, and the belts got scattered as a result of it, and everyone should thank you for that, right? But if you want to be generationally perceived, because you're a fighting man and that's what you do, right, then you're going to have to fight Usyk or Joshua and do those things that you said that you wanted to do. Because he said, about 6 months ago, he said, I'm going to fight Joshua, I'm going to fight Usyk, I'm going to give Chisora a payday, and I'm done.
Yeah, but Simon, I think Tyson's a superb fighter. But when I look at the people he's fought, right, it's not the same. as the way Joshua's gone about his
Oh,
business.
leave
No,
off.
listen, I'll go through his opponents. Let's go.
Adam, you've got to jump on this, Adam.
Let's go through. Let's go through his opponents. White, Joshua beat White. Wilder, that's the only person Joshua hasn't fought, right? Klitschko, Joshua's beat Klitschko. Watson, Schwartz, Panella. You know, I mean, it's not like Joshua where Joshua's gone out. He's fought Povetkin, Ruiz, Parker.
He's fought Deontay Wilder 3 times.
Sorry?
He's fought Deontay Wilder 3 times.
And listen, yes, and I'll give him that one because I think Deontay Wilder was the most avoided heavyweight out there, and I think Wilder.
He thought White, who rocked him to his boots.
Who
and
did?
Was, Anthony.
Yeah, no, I get that, but
He
listen,
thought Charles Martin, who was a paper champion. He thought 107-year-old Vladimir Klitschko.
Carlton has a point when he says that Tom Schwartz and there's Otto Volin in there, and I'll be honest with you, if AJ were to have picked those as opponents, he'd have been slaughtered. You're not going to get away with Tom Schwartz and Otto Volin.
After having one fight in 3 years.
He fought Otto Volin and Tom Schwartz after fighting Wilder.
What is that? He said
no,
3 fights in 4 years.
So what I'm saying is, right, with Tyson, right, listen, he's a phenomenal boxer, that is for sure.
Incredible, yeah.
Right? He will fight the winner of Joshua Usyk. That is 100%, and he should just say that.
Would Fury have beaten Ruiz?
Oh yes. No, I'm not
Would he beat
arguing.
Usyk?
I'm not arguing about that. But the simple fact is, he's not fought them, right? So I'm looking at everybody.
You think his body of work's not enough?
It's kind of what I'm saying as well.
Adam, let me just say this: everybody's slaughtering Joshua. Joshua hasn't had a great,
No, they're not.
a long amateur
They
career.
are.
Right?
No, they're
He's
not. Simon, you slaughter him all the time, Simon.
Learning
I
on the
don't.
road.
I observe it on
right?
him.
I think. Listen. This is my personal opinion, and you might shoot me down. I think Usyk gets beaten by Joshua inside 6 or 7 rounds in the rematch. And
What are you basing that on?
No, I'll tell you why. And I know it sounds a bit
Far-fetched.
Okay, Simon.
Away with the fairies.
I saw.
Deluded.
I think it was in round
7. The body shot.
Right. He hit him with a body shot. Right. Now, listen. Joshua's even said himself he fought the wrong fight. If he closes the gap and fights and puts it on Usyk early doors, I think he stops him. If he doesn't, I think Usyk wins on points or stops him later on.
As you've just said there, right? He hits him in one particular round with a body shot.
Yeah.
Why didn't he do it again the round after?
Because he couldn't.
Because the guy that he was fighting figured it out like that and sorted it out.
Yeah, well,
exactly.
But he's changed training camps, right? Listen,
and that'll make him. Listen, it'll make him more aggressive, but it'll also make him more vulnerable in that fight.
Well, I agree with Derek.
Will Garcia do that? Will Garcia do that?
Garcia, hopefully, the point of the Garcia
likes his
thing,
fighters to fight, doesn't he?
100%. And what he'll make him do is, he'll instead of throwing 1s and 2s, he'll make him throw 3s, 4s, and 5s.
And that's what he's got to do.
Absolutely, he 100% does. But when you do that, you leave more holes.
Exactly.
And you are fighting a sniper.
Technician.
Yeah. No, listen. I believe. I listened to Derek Chisora. I agree with Derek. He's got to risk getting knocked out to win this fight because he's not going to win it on points. That is for sure.
But I will say this though: if AJ does, and it's a big if, I'm an AJ fan. I admit it's a big if. He's fighting the pound for pound number 1 in my eyes in Alexander Usyk. If AJ were to beat him versus Tyson Fury is just. There's not a stadium big enough in the world that could hold it.
But Tyson's not going to fight again.
But this is half a billion, he said. That's the going rate, right?
If he beats Usyk, then you have to give him maximum respect because going back and beating the Pillsbury Doughboy is not the same thing. Beating Ruiz in the way that he did.
It's the biggest win of his career if he beats Usyk.
Absolutely.
Yes, biggest win of his career. Yeah,
absolutely.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.